Words have power. I remember my mom telling me that when we were working on a speech together. She was a high school English and speech teacher and truly inspired in me a love for words, the meaning of words, and the power and the impact that the right word communicated in the right moment could have. We are beginning a new series simply entitled Words. In this series, I'm going to talk about the power and purpose of words, whether you're a coach, business leader, athlete, parent, teacher, spouse, or anyone else who interacts with people, which covers all of us. You use words in some capacity. And I believe this series will help you think about the words you use and how you can become a more effective leader and person of influence in sports, business, and life. This series will also challenge you to moderate and nurture the words you let into your mind and permeate your self-talk, helping you to strengthen your mental toughness and resiliency. In this episode, I want to talk to you about the power of words. I love what J.R. Miller says in the book, The Building of Character. There have been meetings of only a moment, which have left impressions for life, for eternity. No one can understand that mysterious thing we call influence. Yet every one of us continually exerts influence, either to heal, to bless, to leave marks of beauty, or to wound, to hurt, to poison, to stain our lives. Every day and at every moment that we interact with someone else, we have the power to leave an impression. And as J.R. Miller says, an impression for life, for eternity, which is a very long time. Sometimes we flippantly say things that we are thinking with no consideration about the impact it will have on the other person. At other times, we miss moments to speak life into the lives of other people, either thinking we have nothing to say or being so distracted that we don't notice that people need to hear from us. I want to give you 3 tips related to the power of your words and how you can communicate in a more impactful way. The first tip is to ponder your words. We need to not just think about what to say, we need to deeply ponder our words. This doesn't mean we need to overthink conversations, delaying an opportunity to connect with someone. It means we just need to give careful consideration to what we say to others. We only have so many breaths in life. And with those breaths, we need to ponder our words and use them, as J.R. Miller says, to heal, to bless, to leave marks of beauty. If we don't ponder our words, we may be doing the exact opposite of our intention, including wounding, hurting, and sometimes poisoning and staining the lives of others. There are a prevalence of platforms that we have since this quote was written, which means that we have to be even more careful about what we say and what we communicate, not only in person, but also through email, through text, social media, and whatever other platform you have. Think before you speak, and don't just think, ponder your words because they have power. The second tip is to measure your words. I've been watching a lot of coffee videos recently, working on my coffee game to make the best cup of coffee and espresso. Many of the coffee baristas focus on the ratio of coffee and water, going so far as to even measure out the coffee beans in grams on a scale and dialing in the correct coarseness of the coffee dose and the exact bloom to extract the most flavorful coffee. In a similar fashion, we must measure our words in content and context. We'll dive more into giving feedback as a leader in a future episode, but for this episode, our focus is measuring the weight of our words in the context of the outcome or impact that we are trying to make. We have to make sure that we deliver the right words in order to have the right effect. Too much criticism can lead to destructive outcomes and lead to self-doubt. Only focusing on the positives may hinder accountability. And not saying the right words in a given moment may cause you to miss the moment to inspire, to motivate, and encourage someone to become their best and achieve greatness. As Harriet Beecher Stowe so wonderfully said, the bitterest tears shed over graves are for words left unsaid and deeds left undone. I don't want to leave words left unsaid and deeds left undone that I know God wants me to say. And then the third tip is to pray about your words. Before every talk I give, whether speaking in a church or giving a talk to athletes and business leaders in a secular environment, I pray about my words. I believe God has given all of us a platform, both figuratively and sometimes literally, and we need to be responsible with it. He created me and gave me words to speak, and I'm forever grateful for that and want to be faithful with those words. I want the words that I speak to be His words, not mine, to help others discover their purpose, lead with a servant's heart, and discover faith over fear in any moment. And God has also given you words to speak with your mouth and your life. I love the lyrics to this song by Hawk Nelson and Mercy Me, appropriately entitled Words. It says, "You can heal the heartache, speak over the fear. God, your voice is the only thing we need to hear. Words can build us up, words can break us down, start a fire in our hearts, or put it out. Let my words be life, let my words be truth. I don't want to say a word unless it points the world back to you." In every moment where I get to use words, I want to get out of the way and allow God to speak through me. I have nothing to say, but God has incredible things to say. And like me, He wants to speak through you and your life too. So pray about your words. Going back to that story about my mom, she gave me an idea about my name and the microphone that I would be speaking through to deliver the message in the speech that I was giving. She said, "Your name is Mike, and you will be speaking through a mic. You might want to think about what a mic does and what you're wanting to do with the position you're running for. A mic amplifies the voice that is speaking through it, and you're wanting to be just like that mic to amplify truth, speak for and into the lives of other people, and to help them find the right words to speak for themselves." I've never forgotten that moment. She gave me both insight and inspiration to write a speech that not only helped me to be elected as president of our high school student council, but also a foundation that would serve me for a lifetime, especially in the work that I get to do in working with athletes and leaders in sports, business, and life. Think carefully about the words that you communicate this week, both to yourself and to others. Ponder your words, measure your words, and pray about your words. And make sure, as always, to make the most of the moments in your life.